Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to talk about the T95. So first give me a few minutes to talk about certain differences that happened since the last time that I had a look at this tank, which once was my most hated tank within War Thunder. And then let's have a look at some nice battle footage, which I have. So the T95, I think I have to serve here a meme. Let's see how fast this tank is. Let's have some battle footage of it racing. I'm sorry. That's me on the Autobahn. I'm sorry. Okay. I think I have to describe it with words. Words with a lot of Ö. This tank is as fast as Gaijin's development of RRB maps. This tank is as fast as Gaijin's development of new game modes within War Thunder. This tank is as fast as the development of enduring confrontation and making it, not bot thunder. This tank is as fast as Gaijin's development of a German light tank line. It's that fast. 12.8 kilometers an hour. One of the slowest objects within War Thunder. And also the horsepower to ton ratio is not very good. It's very bad, in fact. It's around about... Well, I even can't calculate here. So, it's about 6, something like this. 6, 7. And that's not a lot. Or it's about 8, so it's a bit more than the mouse, but the mouse is actually faster and you actually wish to have the mobility of the mouse. That tells you a lot about this tank, but it has some of the toughest armor in War Thunder. Now, to make a long story short, I hated this tank because it was just not very good. It had a very bad post-penetrating damage effect, and it was very easy to kill from the front. So the first buff came to the cupola. Well, it was not the first buff, but the most recent buff. And what now happens exclusively to the cupola of the T95 is that all armor-piercing high explosive shells enter and exit with nearly doing no damage, so they now no longer bounce downward and explode there or do any sort of shenanigans. The only sort of shells that now can penetrate and actually do damage to the cupola are very big high explosive shells if they actually precisely hit here, or armor piercing shells that profit from the AP post penetration damage buff that came with the French. So in fact the most dangerous tanks are now those with solid shots, if they cannot penetrate your front. But also a lot of tanks have now found their way into the game that can just ignore your armor. I'm talking here about tanks such as a lot of the, well, out of all the tanks, the Japanese tanks, STA-1, STA-2, Type 61, Type 60 SPRG, and so forth. And even the Germans have 2 premium tanks and 1 tech tree tank that in theory can punch through with the heat FS. The Russians have a lot of tanks. This is 305mm cast homogeneous armor, so it has a bit of a reduction factor, not as drastic as the mouse, but still sometimes APDS might slip through from the L7 gun out of all the APDS shells. And your biggest benefit is that you don't have to fight the British, and well, if you are top tier versus the Germans, you have a very good time. So your cupola got a buff, so you get now no longer murdered from the front by Panzer IV, T-34-85, or hell in arcade even Shermans. Another buff has come to the ammunition. And the stock shell, the T32, is actually by default very strong because it can even punch through the lower glacis and the transmission of a Tiger II. And that is something that not a lot of shells can. And with the increased buffed post-penetration damage effect, the spalling effect, that again came with the introduction of the French tanks, this is actually not such a painful shell anymore as it once was. Then we also have the T13 APCBC APHE shell. 290mm of penetration is more than enough against the majority of enemies that you face. And it just will one-shot Tiger IIs with no problem, even with a turret penetration. Then you also have a pretty strong APCR shell, although I never found any sort of use for it in actual battle. Then you have the 12.7mm machine gun, which is actually pretty useful if you deal with some light tanks, if you deal with aircraft, if they're stupid enough to align the machine guns. If it's just a secret, look at the match or the last video about the Object 268. You know how much I love secondary weapon on my casemate tank destroyers with mind games and all the shenanigan stuff. So the T95 actually has now some pretty nice firepower. The readout is still around about 3 seconds longer than on a very closely related T5E2 gun from the T29, and that is a bit annoying. Very often you get tracked, you have a very bad gun handling, and it's the speed, it's very crippling. Without further ado, let's hop into some gameplay. So the first scene that I want to show you in its entirety is here. I drove already for 2 minutes and I'm not even reaching the combat zone when a plane is dropping already bombs on me. It's a French Hellcat and the bombs landed substantially behind me, but still set my transmission out of order and my tank on fire by hitting the fuel tank. The plane is coming around for another pass, probably with rockets, but this time I think Dr. 50 Cal has to talk to the patient with a fiery talk. Thank you very much. But with his dying breath, he launches some rockets and my driver dies. He gets soon replaced by the commander, but the commander is the one that actually commands the 50 caliber. So now with the first casualty, I'm still fully operational except for the 50 cal, which is annoying. And I talked to you about the cupola stuff, and that is apparent right now. So there is the smoke and I cannot see anything. I just see that there is some action going on below. There is a shot coming in, but you have to be a bit fearless. I see nothing in the smoke, and then a few seconds later, MX-50 Super C. Watch that shot. That solid shot goes through the cupola, and that spalling is enough to kill 2 of the remaining 3 crew members. So I had to hide here behind the Panther rack to hide from a Type 61, one of those Japanese tanks, and I'm in a very deadly death fight with an overpowered German tank. Yes. And then this happens. Artillery strike. That's not a problem in every tank, but watch where he hits me. Right at the edge, and that's enough to kill the entire crew. And then there was this hilarious battle on, the fields of Normandy, and we kill an MX M4, how appropriate. And then, soon afterwards, artillery strike get launched on my position, I'm the only one at B, and I get tracked. That's quite hard, despite having a good crew, despite being just 1 of 4 tracks down, it costs me 30 seconds to repair. Well, good luck trying to stand still with a casemate tank destroyer without getting in trouble within War Thunder RB. So of course I look around and to my horror I saw something moving. It's a Panther 2. I couldn't wait for the few remaining seconds. I had to delete him. And then again show the frontal armor, to the front line. And then I heard something. What is that? Oh, that's an MX-13 and he bounces with the AP shot. It's the SS-11. So this is gonna be good because he cannot shoot me with the rockets from close range. And at longer ranges, I have enough time to delete him. So where is he going? Where is he going? I mark here the map. I send it to my aircraft. Hey look, there is some juicy light tank for your rockets and 50 cals and bombs and laser cannons and freedom calls. He tries again, and that rocket was really close. So this was kind of hilarious. I still was tracked, otherwise I just would have reversed to make the angle of potential zones where he could come from, you know, better. But even the reverse gear is really bad. So the enemy team has wiped out our team. There are just some aircraft in the air. The enemy team has all 3 capture zones. This is less than optimal. So what to do now? You know, this is just a stupid situation. I have to show my vulnerable or more vulnerable side to the enemy team. The lower part is very tricky for APHE shells. And the upper part is still relatively vulnerable. And then watch what he does. Dr. 50 Cal sends you back to hangar, my friends. Oh man, that was hilarious. I absolutely loved that. Now, the rest of the battle was a bit of a kill compilation. So there was Tiger 2 one-shot straight through the turret front with the APHE shell. Another Tiger 2, we hit the side of the turret and he goes boom. And then, just like Moses, when we reach the Holy Land, just before we can claim it for ourselves, we get RE25 once with a balanced heat shell. And that's the end of this battle. So let's hop into the 7-kill match. So we are on Abandoned Factory, which is a pretty good map for this tank, if you think about it. Because, you know, you have flat terrain, you have hard terrain, so you have the maximum of maneuverability as far as you can talk about this stuff in this tank. And, well, your lack of gun depression and all this stuff doesn't really matter. So just by driving you get a very long beard, and I just let it run for the entire battle without cutting anything to just show you what are the benefits and the disadvantages of this tank. So I'm so bored with the 50 cal, and it's always like spending so much time in such a slow tank on even such a tiny map as Abandoned Factory. So it's not really fun to drive on, you know, the very big maps, Kursk and Fulda Gap and equivalent maps, and then just getting one shot from an object 268 across the map with AP FSD, SSFSS, or HeatFS, or just simply, you know, I don't know. It happened to me. That is really outrageous. You don't see them, they're faster than you, they have a higher rate of fire than you, they can aim better at you, even at longer distances. It's the very same story. You are a very situational tank. There might be players out there that still love this tank, but they are mostly also lovers of the tortoise and, well, the Jagdtiger and or the mouse. So, because sometimes such tanks have charm, they are not useless, but if you have to play them, they give you a sour feeling in the guts. They are not nice to drive without losing your sanity on and on and on, especially in an up tier where your armor then doesn't really matter that much, and even your space side armor is no real savior. So here happened a funny scene, because that British tank that was with me actually left the cap, and now I can cap. This is a gift by another player, and I am taking it. So the Centurion Mark 10 artillery, out of all the possible tanks, an IS-6. This has to be a good battle. It really has to be. And my primary shell in this battle is the AP. So in the battles that I played, you know, to not just gather the footage but getting a feel for this tank, I switched around with the ammunition, and it's very simple. You can have success with both ammunition types. The APCR is something that you rarely use. The HE is something that you use even rarer. And now the enemy team is there. And I saw you. I saw you, sunshine, and now I'm going to hunt you down. In a T95. Yeah, that's the BR-152. And he cannot really deal real damage to me. Maybe if he hammers my gun breach or my muzzle brake rather, and there he is. And Dr. 50 cal says hello, but this guy takes too much ammunition. I need to aim, so I actually sacrifice a solid shot. And there we go, hull break. There you could see the spalling of the AP shell is just enormous. It's really awesome, I have to say that. So if the T95 would have had this post-penetration damage shot, post-penetration damage effect on the solid shots from the beginning, I never would have complained. Ferdinand, and he feels it too. Ooh, yeah, crew knocked out. I guess he received one damaging hit before because I just killed all the crew members in the well, casemate section, or the, what's it called? The fighting compartment, yes. So I'm going left to the barrels to give myself the best chances of not getting shot in the back immediately. If I would be to the right of those, not barrels but pipes, then there is the possibility that somebody comes around the corner and I don't have the time to turn around. So now I see the marking on the map and I turn around. So the mobility that you kind of see here is the best that you can possibly get, except, you know, falling off a cliff on Ash River, but don't take that serious, because some people take it serious, I can guarantee you. And I look where the enemies might appear, and yep, there we have a customer, hello, and I'm a little bit faster with my trigger finger than this MX-30. He smokes up, but he's immobilized. I did a lot of damage to internal components. I relocate a little bit, but still the aiming cursor is there where he was. We pull the trigger again, and that's our third kill. But that was not the guy that was marked on the minimap. So my best guess is now to go where the enemy might appear, which is on the, or within the capture zone. So there is a lot of strategic thinking, a lot of patience. Sometimes to do nothing is the best that you can do. To be in cover from air attacks, to not get spotted by machine guns is also something that you should consider if there is the possibility. Now, to stay with your teammates is a task that is impossible to fulfill. They have to stay with you, which for a lot of tanks robs them their advantage. And if M56 Scorpion is as slow as you, well, this guy has no armor. He might have a good gun with good ammunition, but in a frontline situation he's weak. But if he can ambush the guys that you ambush, or that want to ambush you, then, you know, that's a different story. So I aim with the solid shot for the ammo rack, and we get it. Nice. So, fourth kill. And then there is some action on the other side of the building. I saw it in the kill message that a Tiger 2 killed the M46. I saw the symbol, reading the minimap. You have a lot of time to do so. So do so. And I'm coming around the corner, and this time I have the APHE shell loaded, and we get the turret front. Thank you very much. That's my ace, just like that. So the team was with me, I was just there in the right moment, and so far I have to say my armor was not contested, so I was not shot. You know, in no tank you want to get shot. There are some, you know, exceptions, but you get the point. And I come around the corner and I think that I might have the shot on him, but it goes somewhere. I have no idea what happened to that shell, and his heat shell just does no damage. But he was spotted, and the Stritzwagen takes care of him with that balanced 20-pounder. Roundabout, no. Yep, there is the kill assist. So the following thing is a bit funny, because now we are approaching the enemy's spawn. We are on the enemy's half of the battlefield. If you want to divide the map by the, by half, by the line of the capture zones, or the capture rings. And there is another customer, and that was a beautiful shot from the hip for our 6th kill on a T-34-85. That was satisfying. But yeah, if you spawn camp in a T95, the enemy team has really fucked up a lot. I cannot help myself, but you know, I don't feel any guilt. However, there is a lot of action going on, and what is that? Oh, is that a Sonderkraftfahrzeug? And we actually killed the driver. We tried with some machine guns. The slow turret rotation is a big drawback of this tank, so the British Stridswagen has no problem to go around it. We have an APHE shell loaded, and it goes through the entirety of the tank, hits the ammo, which does not explode. That is really a sickness with those lightly armored tanks. You hit the ammunition and nothing happens. And we get the kill assist, so I don't mind. So at the moment I'm down to the mercy of the enemy team, that they come to me. And now B gets captured, and this offers now a good possibility for me to kill somebody, but also to get killed if somebody spawns behind me while I'm driving through the open. So I saw again some action going on to the side of me. There was a marker on the minimap. This is why I turn around, and I'm not quick enough. That's the big drawback, but there he is. Hello. And we kill the turret crew, which is enough to give us the 7th kill of the match. I can assure you that this is a rather rare match. The enemy aligned themselves. I never was really shot except once, where the heat shell didn't do a lot of damage. And I guess I was again a bit too slow for this IS-2. Maybe he saw me. I have the solid shot loaded, just aiming a bit above the tracks, and we have him disabled. But before I could relocate and reload, the match is over. Sadly, the match is over. But at least I'm second in team with 7 kills. So now let's have a quick look at the post-battle results and see what the T95 actually earns if you have such a good match. So, 1 capture zone, 2 enemy kill assists, and 7 ground units together with unlocking of a skin, and the Survivor Award earns us 55,000 silver lines and 4,548 research points together with 15,000 from a battle trophy. I have to say that's not really that bad. Second in team with 2,129 score points is also not the worst outcome here. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and just for the hardcore fans which always will like this video, and you know, if you become a hardcore fan, you also can subscribe to my channel. I have here this hilarious scene which I will no longer comment. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.